This episode exists because of one of you. Your comment is on screen right now. You asked for an expose episode on the Goodyear Wrangler DuraTrac RT before making your next tire decision. So, we did what we always do. We went deeper than the marketing. Because truck owners deserve to know what's really underneath the rubber. They deserve more than a sidewall label and a marketing promise. And that's exactly why we looked closer. Today, we're putting the Goodyear Wrangler DuraTrac RT on the table. Because every tire has one engineering decision hiding underneath the tread that controls almost everything you feel behind the wheel. Most people never see it. Today, we're finding it. And once you understand it, you'll never look at an aggressive tread pattern the same way again. Here's the illusion. Your eyes see those tall, aggressive tread blocks, and your brain makes the obvious connection. More rubber, more control. But tire physics doesn't work that way. Because before a tire creates grip, it moves first. Those tall blocks don't instantly lock onto the pavement. They flex, they twist, they settle. And that one engineering decision explains why this tire rides the way it does, sounds the way it does, performs in mud the way it does, and why it can surprise you when the pavement gets serious. Evidence number 1. The moment grip doesn't exist. Why would any engineer intentionally design a tire that feels less immediate behind the wheel? Think about that for a second. Look at the DuraTrac RT's tread. Those tall, aggressive outer lugs are exactly what catches your eye. They look like strength, and for decades, drivers have been trained to believe the same thing. Bigger blocks mean more grip. But tire physics doesn't work that way. Your eyes see aggression. An engineer sees leverage. Imagine pushing a heavy door. Push near the hinge and it barely moves. Push at the far end of the handle and the same force creates a much bigger reaction. A tall tread block works the same way. The internal casing and steel belts create the foundation. The tall rubber block sitting above them becomes the lever. So when your truck brakes, corners, or changes direction, those blocks don't instantly behave like solid rubber. They flex, they twist, they settle. Tire engineers call this tread squirm. Not because the tire is sliding across the pavement, but because the tread elements are still changing shape as they build contact with the surface. And here's the part most drivers never realize. That movement is not a mistake. It's the reason this tire can conform to loose rock, uneven trails, and changing terrain where a rigid tire would simply bounce and lose contact. The engineers wanted that flexibility. They needed it. But every advantage has a price. The same tread movement that creates off-road capability can also create a softer, less immediate feeling on pavement. Have you ever pulled away from a stoplight and felt your truck respond just a fraction slower than expected? Not unsafe, not broken, just different. You probably weren't feeling a bad tire. You were feeling the engineering decision hidden inside the tread. The engineers solved one problem by creating another. They built movement into the tire for the trail. Now they had to figure out how to control it on the highway. And that's where the next clue begins. Evidence number 2, the first compromise. How do you control 1,000 tiny levers without taking away the very flexibility that gives this tire its off-road advantage? Here's a challenge. Next time you look at your tires, look between the tread blocks. Those small rubber bridges connecting the blocks together? Most drivers never notice them. Engineers notice them first. They're called tie bars. Here's what they do. Imagine 6 people pushing a heavy pickup truck. If everyone pushes in a different direction, their effort fights itself. But lock their arms together, and suddenly every person becomes part of one stronger system. That is the job of a tie bar. Without them, tall tread blocks have too much freedom to move on their own. One block twists one way, another reacts differently, creating an unstable contact patch. Tie bars force those neighboring blocks to work together. But why not simply make the tread blocks wider and stiffer? Because that would solve one problem by creating another. A rigid block stays stable on pavement, but it loses the ability to conform around rocks, dirt, and uneven surfaces. So the engineers chose a compromise. Keep the blocks tall and flexible for off-road traction. Then add tie bars to control the movement when the truck returns to pavement. The engineering price. Tie bars. More stability and controlled wear. Less freedom for individual blocks to flex around extreme terrain. The chaos is controlled, but the surface is about to change the rules. Evidence number 3. Why rain rewards what snow punishes. Why does the same tread pattern that looks unstoppable in snow become vulnerable in heavy rain? Because the tread never changed. The environment did. Rain, the water wedge. On wet pavement, the enemy isn't a lack of rubber. It's the water trapped between the rubber and the road. Those wide channels are not creating grip, they're creating an escape route for water so the rubber can actually touch the asphalt. Every channel you add helps clear water, but it also removes rubber from the road. Practical tip. In standing water, slowing down can improve traction more than switching to a more aggressive-looking tire. Snow, the compression trick. Snow flips the equation. Here, empty space isn't always the goal. Those deep tread voids allow the tire to grab and compress snow inside the pattern. And packed snow grips packed snow better than bare rubber grips snow. Practical tip. Spinning your tires aggressively in snow can destroy that packed snow layer and reduce traction. Mud, the self-cleaning battle. Mud creates a different problem. The tire doesn't just need traction, it needs to stay open. Those stepped shoulders and open grooves act like a self-cleaning system, helping throw mud away as the tire rotates. Because once mud fills the tread completely, the tire stops acting like an off-road tool and starts behaving like a smooth racing slick. Gravel, the mechanical lock. On loose gravel, the flexibility we discovered earlier becomes an advantage. Those same tread blocks can wrap around small stones and uneven surfaces, creating hundreds of tiny mechanical contact points. A rigid highway tire simply cannot do that. But even the smartest tread design has a limit, because the air inside the tire can change the entire equation. Evidence number 4. The air pressure lie. Have you ever wondered why forum arguments about this tire never seem to end? One owner says, "Best tire I've ever owned." Another says, "The steering feels terrible." They're driving the exact same tire. So who's wrong? If you've ever driven one of these and thought, "Why does the steering suddenly feel nervous or skittish?" There's a good chance you weren't feeling the tire. You were feeling your air pressure. A 5-minute adjustment can completely change the personality of this tire. Let's destroy one of the biggest buying myths right now. Maximum PSI does not mean maximum stability. Drivers look at the maximum pressure molded into the sidewall, maybe 80 pounds per square inch on a load range E tire, and assume that number is the tire's ideal setting. It isn't. That number is the tire's maximum carrying limit. When you run excessive pressure on an unloaded truck, the center of the tread crowns outward. Engineers don't just care about how much rubber touches the road, they care about how that rubber touches the road. A properly loaded footprint creates predictable grip. A distorted footprint creates uneven contact. And remember those tall tread blocks we discovered back in evidence number 1? When the pressure is wrong, those blocks are forced to carry the load through a smaller, less efficient contact patch. Over time, the center tread begins wearing faster. You think the tire is defective. It isn't. A casing designed to carry a heavy trailer will behave very differently when it's mounted on an empty half-ton truck and inflated without considering the actual load. You've changed the shape of the contact patch, forcing those tread blocks, already designed to move and flex, to work against the pavement in a way the engineers never intended. Practical tip. The number on the sidewall is the tire's maximum limit, not your truck's prescription. Set your pressure based on your actual load, driving conditions, and manufacturer's recommendations. Fix the pressure, but you still haven't fixed the physics. Evidence number 5. The bill you never stop paying. Remember the movement we discovered all the way back in evidence number 1? That movement was the key to this tire's off-road capability. But every engineering advantage comes with a cost. Every time those tread blocks flex the way the designers intended, every time they twist against the pavement, they lose a small amount of energy. Rubber doesn't return energy like steel. Imagine bending a paperclip back and forth. After enough cycles, you feel the heat building up. Your tread blocks are doing something similar, thousands of times every mile, converting mechanical energy into internal heat. The heat isn't coming from the road. It's being generated inside the rubber itself. Engineers call this hysteresis, the same flexibility that allows a tread block to wrap around rocks and uneven terrain is also creating energy loss on the highway. That lost energy shows up as increased rolling resistance, slightly reduced efficiency, and, over thousands of heat cycles, changes in how the compound ages and feels. This is the unavoidable trade-off. You cannot create a tire that flexes aggressively off-road and behaves exactly like a rigid highway tire. The physics won't allow it. Practical tip: you can't eliminate hysteresis, but proper inflation, regular rotation, and correct tire selection help prevent unnecessary wear and performance loss. Movement gave you traction. Now it's sending you the bill. Engineering law: every off-road advantage begins as a highway compromise. Agree or disagree? Tell us your experience below, and join us for the next Expose investigation. The final reveal: everything started inside the contact patch. Remember the very first sentence of this investigation? Before grip, they move. Now you know why. You probably thought this entire investigation was about tread blocks. It wasn't. Everything you felt today, the steering feel, the tie bars, the pressure sensitivity, the heat, happened inside a contact patch smaller than a sheet of printer paper. Every clue, every compromise, every mile started with that single movement. A highway tire achieves stability by locking its tread down and refusing to move. This hybrid architecture achieves capability by engineering controlled compliance into its DNA. It accepts a delay in steering response on pavement so it can unlock mechanical grip on the trail. Once you understand that, you stop shopping for tread patterns. You start shopping for engineering philosophy. The tire isn't changing. The surface is just cashing the check the engineers wrote. The autopsy conclusion. So after 5 engineering clues, what did the autopsy reveal? The DuraTrac RT isn't a highway tire pretending to be an off-road tire. It's an off-road tire that accepts a highway compromise to deliver trail capability. If your weekends are spent chasing trails instead of parking lots, this tire was engineered for your lifestyle. But if your truck spends 90% of its life commuting, don't pay for capability you'll never use. Around here, we don't judge tires by tread depth. We judge them by engineering decisions. Because the expensive mistake isn't buying a bad tire. It's buying the right tire for the wrong life. Marketing sells the promise. Physics delivers the experience. This is Expose. If you're running the DuraTrac RT, tell us your experience, the capability, the compromise, and everything in between. We'll see you in the next episode where we expose Nitto Terra Grappler G3.